So for JS module, I didn't have any slide for this time. I didn't manage to make any slide, or you don't need a slide, I guess. But who?
I asked that question already. Who did coding or not?
Yeah, or who at least try to read the
W3.
Yes.
this one, at least pre-reading materials. You did? Raise who didn't. You didn't. Why is that?
I was busy in the assignment and
He was busy with the assignment. But I told you it's a priority that you should don't spend that much time on the assignment, and you should read some pre-reading. Otherwise, it's very complicated for you. HTML CSS is kind of straightforward. It's easy to learn, easy to see. You can see that. But JavaScript, it started the programming language, right? And there are a lot of logics you need to implement and a lot of things. It's a huge domain. So it's a huge ecosystem. So it's better. Next time you don't sacrifice this thing, okay?
Should we just talk about a little bit of what programming is?
Oh yeah, probably you can start with that. Yeah, definitely. I think
okay.
you can take this one.
Do that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You've heard a lot about programming, right? So what do you think is programming?
For the computer to do some things we want.
Yeah. So that's giving instruction to the computer to do certain things. Okay. And you can do the same thing to another person, not computer. But what's the difference?
we need to use logic.
Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, in our everyday... Sorry, say that?
We need to be specific.
Yeah, that's the thing. Computer is dumb. Okay? It needs to know step by step what you need to do. So the translation between... so when we give a human an instruction to do something, there's a lot of knowledge at the back that you assume. But with computers, you can't assume anything. It's got to be specific, line by line. Each line has a meaning to the computer, and that's how it will do. So, for example, if you ask somebody to give a direction or make a cup of tea, if I ask you to make a cup of tea, and if I ask you do very differently, right? Because you have your own knowledge base. And the thing I want to stress is that computer doesn't have that. It's what we human communicate to it, and it's got to be specific. And the other thing I want to ask you is, do you know what language computer actually understands? Does it understand JavaScript?
Binary. Binary.
Yeah. What is binary? Zeros and ones. The only thing it understands is zeros and ones. Everything else we do before the layer is the human being making the translation to zeros and ones. So can you imagine all the layers it needs to go through? So let's bring the example to the making cup of tea, okay? So each of us will make it differently. But if we want the same taste and the same way, and it's kind of similar to baking, you have to follow specific instruction, then it will come same, the taste will be same. And that's what we need to do for the computer. So you have a spec and you want this output. The output has to be the same for you, everybody. Okay? The other thing I want to say is, in our everyday life, what are the different things we do? We go from A to B, right?
Yeah.
Or we do take this from here to there. You know, think about your everyday life. And also, when we sometimes repeat things, right? Every day you wake up, you brush your teeth, and then you take shower, and then what you repeat every day in your everyday life.
Right.
So what's the concept, programming concepts that's there?
Workflow. Workflow.
Workflow.
Workflow. Yeah, you go through sequence, step by step. That's another thing. But remember my keyword repeat?
Recursion.
Yeah, that's a bit advanced form of repetition. So the thing is called loop. So you loop through things, right? The other thing you do is you make decisions. Okay, so you make decisions based on what? If it's raining, yeah, you take an umbrella. So if it's raining, is it true or false? False. So my action is I'm not going to take an umbrella. Okay, so that's something else you need to keep in mind when we're coding. Okay. The other thing is, so we said instructions step by step. One of you said, right? The other thing is we repeat things. Even as a human being, we repeat things. Okay, and what's the other thing I said? Decisions. So based on certain conditions, we do something. And for programming, to be honest, these are the fundamentals. If you can understand those, you can understand coding. Coding is not rocket science. You need to know that, you need to understand these fundamental things. Sequential step, each step has an output in the computer. You repeat something, and then you make a decision. There's one last thing I didn't mention. What is it? What's the buzzword now?
Output. Output.
Output? You output what? Data, right?
Loop.
No, loop we said, repetition. Computer needs to have information.
Inputs.
Data, so storage. So, the basic concept about programming is storage. You take information from wherever, you still have to store it, and you make some decisions with it, you do some repetition with it, and you follow some instructions with it. So that's the fundamental. I just wanted to set the sort of the objective of programming. That's what we do, literally, and I mean literally. Okay, so so in terms of data structure, I'm kind of giving you an overview of what programming consists of. Okay, so the data structure is, there's two types of it. Okay, one is, I think Abed is going to go into it, is you store some information in some sort of category. For example, can you think about in our everyday life, what are the different categories we store? My name is what? Series of
String.
character. And that consists of string. That's very good. You're a little bit advanced than what I was going to. Okay, so that's a series of strings. Okay, and we store
Integers.
Hmm?
Integers.
digits. So in digits, just think about the digits. There is two different types of digits.
The integers and floats.
Yes. Did everybody get that? So you either store whole number, or you do the double, float, or whatever. So we did character, we did string. String is actually just accumulation of character, each character. And so what else? What else data do we have?
Boolean. True, false.
Yeah, true and false. Remember decisions I said? Decision needs to be output into true or
false.
false. Okay, anything else I've missed? That's decisions. So conditions is true or false. Okay. So we did float, integer, character, string. Okay. Now the next stage is, so if you want to, those are the fundamental data types, like the basics. But there's some user-defined one or the computer-defined one. So if we want to store a collection of books, okay, collections of books, we have our data type called, not you, because I know. Okay, think about your cabinet. Okay? Arrays. So another important data structures, we won't do arrays today, would we?
Probably.
Probably,
If
okay.
we have time.
Yeah. So we store arrays of books. Now, in arrays needs to be defined of certain types. So you either store character, names, strings, and all that. Okay. Now I'm going to move into another concept of JavaScript or programming is called objects. Okay. So objects. So when you define a computer, it has certain characteristics, right? So what characteristics does it have? Width, screen size, color, right? So we define a class called computer. But my computer is an instance of it. It's an object of it. Your computer is another object of it. So that's how it goes, okay? So we define classes as in like a blueprint. Do you understand what blueprint is? Kind of like the framework. And then each time you create an object from it. Okay. So I think, did I cover all that?
Yeah.
Programming is done.
Oh, yeah.
No. So I think what we're going to do is introduce you to each of these concepts. And I think with each concept, what I would like, or we would like, is that you really understand how to do bullying thoroughly. So you understand each of the concepts, and then we'll give you a problem to combine some of the concepts together. And then slowly you do a bigger project. So it's kind of incremental. Okay. But without understanding the reason I'm focusing on the fundamentals, because without getting the basics, you'll get stuck up there. So it's really the foundation to know about all these basic concepts. Do you want to add it?
No. I will definitely later.
Okay.
But are you done? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what do you think about this introductory to the fundamentals of programming? Macy?
Very good. You're very eloquent, very African, so it's cool.
I think it's super fantastic. Actually, she covered the way that actually with the real life, actually the things will be you're writing code or something. It should be taken from the real life, and if you can relate to the real life things, then it's much simpler and easier. And you did very well on relating to stuff. That's very good. But the thing is that you need to remember that. So while we'll be doing some exercise, probably I'll repeat the same thing and I'll ask you the question, and then you should come up with a good answer. Yes. So then
I
probably.
think the key difference is like a lot of what I find with students is like, I told the computer and it's not doing it. The reality is you didn't tell the computer the exact instructions. The exact instruction. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Okay, because we assume, like I said, human being, we assume that there's some knowledge that you don't need to be explicit. But with computer, you need to be explicit.
Yeah. So first question, what is programming language?
Making a tea, basically.
Making a?
Making tea.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's true. So it's like set of instruction, that's it. So you just give some command and you do it. And in a unified way that computer understand, that's it, nothing else, okay? So let's begin. So what is JavaScript then? So probably you guys, I think all of you, except you, haven't read the reading materials, but everyone did. So probably it's a good opportunity. I can ask you some questions here. So what is JavaScript? What's the difference between JavaScript and HTML and CSS?
JavaScript is a programming language.
Yeah. And HTML and CSS is not?
Yeah, it's the logic level.
It helps to change the behavior of the web page. JavaScript.
Yeah.
It's object oriented, I guess.
But HTML changes the structure of it.
Yeah, it defines the semantic structure of the HTML document. CSS is used to beautify, and JavaScript is used to change the behavior of the HTML document.
Yeah. Any more?
JavaScript is make the behavior of the page, set of instruction where implement the logic, and you can change or appearance of website, and you can call anything from the behind.
And it's helped HTML to be active.
Yeah, that's true. I think if I collect all of them, then you all are right. So it's some of the all you said. There's JavaScript definitely. So basically, the logic or something we are also writing in HTML and CSS. This behind the scene, these are also programming. It's not something else. It's also programming, but we are not calling them programming because JavaScript has a robust of doing different things. So in HTML, CSS, it's sort of predefined. predefined. They have defined you need to do this one and this one. So that not that broad sense. So and for instance, we define two classes, right? So each class in CSS defines some style. So each class overrides each other. So there's a logic behind it. So there's some calculation going on. But in JavaScript, you can more interactive. You can make it dynamic. So all the time you can decide how to change the behavior of the user. So user do something and do some changes. For instance, Jason did some, the portfolio on a hover over the image, flash and then do some animation. These are also programming, right? But these are predefined. You cannot do that much of it. But in JavaScript, there's more freedom.
I didn't use JavaScript for that.
You didn't use. That's what I'm saying.
But for the menu bar, I use JavaScript.
Yeah. For the animation, you didn't did any JavaScript, right? It's pure CSS, but pure CSS also calling some programming behind the scene. So you're not doing it. You don't have that control there. But in JavaScript, allowing you to do the controlling of the the thing it happening behind the scene. That's the power of the JavaScript, and it can do all crazy things.
Can we debug JavaScript?
Yes, definitely, and this is very important. You should be able to debug. So, and also debugging technology, you should also learn. If you're good in debugging, then you're a good programmer as well. Okay. Okay. So actually, did you manage to also see the the Hacker Future curriculum, the links for the reading materials or the week materials we have?
Yes.
Probably did, yeah. So there it mentioned we should start with the debugger tool. So let's start with that. So what is debugger tool? Anyone quickly?
Fix.
Debug, for instance. Yeah, exactly. So while you write some instruction and you want to see how the instruction got executed and are they executed that expected way you thought of or designed. So that's you can track. Then it's debugging. So basically, the debugger tool is simple. You all know. So you need to right click on the browser. It's mostly we use the debugger browser debugger. But if you are writing a Java or ASP.NET or some other programming language, so you use the editor debugger. But for JavaScript, it's commonly used by the browser one. Okay. So if you just click on inspect, so this is the debugger tool. So deb tool, you can say. So we have seen for for HTML, this is the element. So you can see the structure of the elements, and you can scroll, you can explore. And if you go to source, so you can see your the CSS file. And also now I can see the JavaScript file as well. So JavaScript is now here. So this is a debugger. So my all code I'm writing in JavaScript file, it's also visible here. This is the similar way. And we will see how we will be using a debugger tool in the later the course. But it's just a debugger tool. I'm just introducing it. This is the debugger tool. So we do testing or verifying things here. Okay. Any question here? Just quick introduction of the debugger tool, what a debugger means. But you will learn while so here only one instruction. So when we have more instructions, so I will show you in a more efficient way how can you debug things. Okay. So, and also this is very important, the console. How many of you are familiar with console? Yes, good. Most of you are not. So console is like for instance, we have this JavaScript, right? So we write some instruction here, and then we attach to the HTML file here, right? Script here. So then when the HTML file loads, then it also loads the JavaScript file. So then it also performs the instruction. So it's the same way you can do on the fly. So when file is loaded, you can also write some instruction here, and it actually do the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So for instance, I said
maybe we
yeah,
give them the file and then they can put it in there.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do that. So the first instruction I wrote here, the console.log. How many are familiar with the console.log? What it means? No one? Can you tell what is console.log?
Print the output. No, so it is the execution output. It's right or log. If either the file is executed right way or wrong, that's
It's a function which is saying to print hello HYF on the console.
Yeah.
I see my work.
Which is ordinary.
I see what I write.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you said also right. But, it's a function, but don't think right now it's a function or not. Yeah, definitely it's a function. But the console is like it's a pretty simple instruction. You tell something without thinking anything, it just does that thing. For instance, you say, okay, just show me something in the browser. So it does show. For instance, I said hello HYF. So it's just print something in the console, not in the So we have two things. One is the dep tool, another is the the outer world see this one. So this is the user see. We always see without opening this thing, And if you open the dev tool, this is the one console it shows for the developer. Okay. So if I say console.log is a syntax, and then display something on console. So if you write console.log, it display on the dev tool, not here. And if you want to display something here in this page, so you need to write in HTML file, right? Something here. So it's coming here, and console is here, right? So, and I can also do the same thing here. Console console.log. Or what? Welcome. So it shows this way. So you don't have to think about why is undefined, what is not. Just you write some line and it executes. So this is console, but we will learn more about the console in later. But can you imagine any simple instruction from your the reading materials that I can type here? Some programming, some arithmetic operation, for instance, plus minus or something.
You can define the character or integer.
So, for instance, if I can write 2 plus 2 as well, right? And what it will show? 4. So basically, this is the power. Like this is a console, and it has the the engine behind it. It understands the instruction and it do the and some calculation and then show the output. So the first line is the instruction and second line is the output always. So whenever you're writing here, it's an instruction, and then the second line is just the output. It performs the things. So basically, the browser has an engine that it understands the JavaScript code, and then it transpile it execute it inside, and then deliver something to us. Okay. Okay. But before I share the the HTML or JavaScript file, probably this one. How many? Except you, probably you all have done this thing, right? Try out this one. The light bulb. You did? So did you understand the logic here? Like if I click here, turn on, it turned on, and if I click off here, turn off. How this work? Any idea?
False true. With the
It's,
yellow.
Change the source of the image.
Yeah, it changed the source of the image. Yeah, that's very good. How it changed actually?
Button on click, the color.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
button on click, the color close.
Yes, but basically, see, imagine this is a front HTML part and CSS part, right? So if we hit the button, if we click something, then you are asking JavaScript to do something, and JavaScript listen try to listen your instruction and do the work as you instructed. So it listens, okay, turn on. So I'm listening what you're saying. Okay, fine. Then turn on means I need to replace the image with something different color, so it look like turn on, and just replace it. And when I click on turn off, it just replace the image with different images, right? So we will do it together. But before we do it, we just try simple thing. For instance, how the JavaScript and the CSS work together. So I have a title here, right? Let's remove this one. Welcome to Hack Your Future, right? So if I want to just change the color or something on this text here with a JavaScript, how can I do it? Like say I want to change only this one. Hack Your Future. So welcome to Hack Your Future. Hack Your Future should be in red color, for instance. So
Yes.
we can always do from CSS, but now we are not doing it to CSS. We should do it to JavaScript.
But changing the style.
Yeah, we can change the style and what the code I should write here in the JavaScript here.
Also, you need to like grab that element
Get element.
and document that get element by ID.
Yeah. So basically, earlier in the CSS, we just write a class or something. We don't need to write a class. We can just find the element with a tag, with a like a span or a h1 or something. Then we define some color, right? So here we need to find the element in different way in JavaScript. So basically, it also instruction here in the W3 school. So it says, so you can get the element like this one. document dot get element by
ID.
something. So there are ID, element by tag, element by class, different way you can tag them, or you can find them. So for instance, here I can write document. So what is document?
The page.
You don't need to understand at the moment. It's a very deep concept. Document is an API. So API is like, for instance, it has a lot of predefined instruction inside somewhere. So if you call document dot get element by ID and you just write the the way it mentioned, for instance, ID name. I have any ID here? Do I have any ID? I have ID, for instance, title, right? So title. So if I do like that, then it's reads the from HTML and give you the element.
He goes to the document.
Yeah. So now, there, if you execute this line, probably in the behind the scene, it's like it's executing thousands of lines or hundreds of lines. But we don't have to think about all this thing. It always given by the browser. So it's an API. If you write this method, it just fetch for you. Okay.
It's
so
kind
now,
of the selector in CSS.
exactly, yes, that's true. So in CSS, we just mentioned the ID class or element, but it also does some extra work, right? Yeah, that's true. So now I have the element, right? And then I said I want to change the color. Let's say we change the color for all first, then we separate them. So how can I change the color for all? Like, welcome to hack your feature. Style, yeah. Dot color, and then equal. Oh yeah, we can use red for now, but it's not recommended. But let's. I know actually the red hash code, so it's easier for me. So this one FF4 times 0. If I set this one and refresh, it changes the color, right? So now I have changed the color and I will share the file. The next task is, see here, I change the color for whole. Welcome to hack your future, right? So I have a span here. So somehow you need to read the span and change the color for hack your future, not the welcome. So welcome remain red, and this one probably gray color or something. Okay, some different color, whatever you choose. So I'll share the file and then we try together. Okay. So today, from JavaScript, it will be much more interactive, not always talking and doing the live code. We will do together, okay? So you should get ready with the mentality. Whenever we share the file in Slack, you should be able to quickly download and then put on your editor, right? We cannot spend that long time on doing this thing. So you should be efficient doing it. So I can copy, instead of downloading, I can copy the file here, channel. So snippet. So this is the index, and this is the script. Yes. So all you need, hack your feature should be in different color. And let me know if you want to start with the setup, but I'll do it for the first time, but not for the second time. So one hint, you need to use this one, get elements by tag name, because it's a tag, right? Span. It's not a class, it's not an ID. Or you can Google it, how to write the code for tag name. Yeah?
Cyrus.
You done?
My console is not.
Your console is not coming? Yes, it's here. Yeah, but the thing is that you have loaded the index file, right? It's a default this page. So you need to click the file first from the directory. Yeah.
This?
No. So where is the index.html file?
We don't have index.
We need index.html file.
Okay.
I share the file as well.
Yeah, changing the color.
Color.
Yes.
Of the span. This one. It's not right.
There is like a convention for the names of the JavaScript file, or it's
Yeah, there are some conventions that you can name it. The people is like more often script or add or the name with the functionality, for instance. If you say welcome page, you can say welcome.js, home.js, like that. The only convention is it should be meaningful. You cannot say X or Z. Anyone except Krishna? Did manage?
Can we use ID?
No.
Only this one.
Don't change anything in HTML. Just from the HTML, you just need to find the tag and then change the color. You can Google it. How to. Did anyone manage? No? যে কোনো color. Just finding the element. Okay guys, so I'm doing it. Let's watch it, and then from the next task it will be much easier for you. So just it's okay if you didn't manage. It's like setting up the project. That's why I give you the task. Okay, so let's see here. But for next task it will be a bit difficult, like we will be doing the turn off turn on button ourselves, so you can experiment there. So all are set up with the project. I think all you need to have a index.html file and the script file, because we want to run the console on index.html file. So it's important, this both files. So don't change anything in this index file. All you need to do change in the script.js. So basically, are you all following here? So what I need here, anyone except you, not Krishna? Yeah, because
He knows.
yeah.
I think you want an element with element file tag name.
Exactly, I gave you the hint. So all basically I need to find this element, right? This span element. So as you mentioned, document dot get element by tag name, right? Sorry, tag name, and what is it? Span, and then dot style dot color, let's say like this. Okay, refresh. Sorry, style color, yes. What is the problem?
Yeah, I did the same. It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work, right? Oh, yeah, so bad. It didn't work. And that was the intention. So we can learn the debugger tool as well. So this is at the same time, okay? So the problem is, I gave you the hint. I can find the element by this one, right? And it didn't work. So the first thing is that always you Google it first, and then try to find some information. How can I use this? Probably it's not the same way. It does work. It worked differently. I don't know. There are a bunch of many examples. Probably I take one. It says a lot of things. This.
Elements.
Sorry.
Elements.
Yeah, elements. Sorry. Oh, what elements is it?
Oh, yeah.
Elements. Yes. Yeah. Actually, I don't know. It's a good, good things or not. But how many know the variables? Variables we just mentioned in the present introduction. So for now, if you don't know the variable, it's fine. But just let me create a variable. I will have a section. I have section for the variable. I'm just calling it a variable. So I call span variable and assigning this here, right? This here, and then I execute again on the browser, so we can learn the debugging tool. So the problem it found it line number 5, right? So see here how we do the debug, guys. I don't like when I talk, you just do stuff in the computer. Please don't do that. Yeah. If you will have time to do yourself. So is it now readable? Yeah. So if I click on the script file, it too much zoom. Is okay now?
Yeah.
So see here. So it take me to the line of number 5, and I can see the number 5 is already red. So it means that there's some problem. That's why JavaScript complaining. So if I click on this line, see this line is selected, highlighted. See it's if I click, it's like all blue color. So all I need to click the line number 5, because the problem in line number 5. So if I click it and then I refresh, what's the difference you see here? Something it came here, right? It's dark now. It's like dark and something here, right? It says paused in debugger. I don't know if you managed to see it from there or not, but something is saying pause for debugger. So basically means that this is the way you debug. So your browser executes from line 1 to 4 and it stop here. Stop for your instruction. So it say, okay, I'm stopping here, and I will wait until you give me the command to do the execute this line, right? So if I stop here, and then I can see var span. Span means it's here. It's saying undefined, because the browser didn't execute this line. That's why it says undefined. But to do the more way efficient debugging, for instance, I can say I just write here one more line, console.log. You can say something, and then we refresh, and we can see one more line, and I just stop here in line number 7. Okay, or I stop in both places. So I refresh now, and it says undefined. If I click this button, this small arrow line, I click this one. Oh, sorry, not that one. Sorry about that. You have to click next, step over. So this icon, or it says F10 if you see here. Not doing it. It's doing that like this. Oh yeah. Yeah, the reason it's not going down is because it has error and JavaScript is not compiling. It's not going to next line. You need to fix the error, then it can go next line. Okay. So basically it's stopping here and it's complaining something is something.
Basically, the computer doesn't understand the language.
So
there's something wrong with that line. So.
okay, guys. So I give you the clue actually. So the thing is that whenever you are using this one, document.get elements by tag name. So it's give you not one element, it's give you the list of elements basically. So that is default behavior. So always it find the elements and give you a list of. So if only document has one span, so how many you have in list? 1. If you have 3, so you will get a list of 3 elements, and that way it give us an array. Always it's give us an array. So because list cannot be a separate variable, so it will not say okay number 1, number 2. It always bundle them into one and then give a list of array. So how do we read array? By index. So basically, I don't know, probably is there any reading material for array? Data type. Okay, here is the array. So basically it gives like this one. So cars as a variable, and then one element separated by comma, one element separated by comma. So basically it has 3. But whenever you want to read the array element, so we always start from 0. That is the default. Array always index start from 0. So if I want to read the element first one, I always need to call 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. I can show you, for instance, here cars. So here I said, cars. I have, and cars have list of cars. One is SAB, Volvo, and BMW. And if I hit enter, you don't see nothing. But if you say cars again, if you hit enter, and it gives you, so it stores and it remembers your information. So that is called variable. So variable, I'm covering many things at a time. So variable is like whenever you have something you want to store and you want to use later, that's always you store in a variable. So here is my variable var, and then I'm calling it cars, and I'm storing 3 cars here. So then whenever I call the car again, so it gives me the list of cars. So this is a list of array. So it has 3 cars: SAB, Volvo, and BMW. And if you see this one, 0, 1, 2, 3. So array index always is a default, always start from 0. You don't have to define it, always start from 0. So if I want to read the car only, SAAB, so how can I do it? So to display things, what is the command? Console, right? We have seen that console. Console.log, and it can display anything. You can type string, you can type numbers or whatever, and you can also read array. So basically you can say cars, and then how to read the index. So it's a this bracket, I don't know what do you call it, square bracket, yes. So and then you just define the index 0. So then it will read us the first element. And if you want to read the second element, so you say 1 and it reads the Volvo. If you want to get the third element, so 3, 2, then it's this one. If I do the third one, which is, and mean third is not exist, that's why it's undefined.
If I want to select 2, should I put comma inside the square braces? Or
If you want to,
if I want to select 2 of the values of the array?
yeah, that's the way. We are reading by the 0, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. If I want to select 2, should I put
2.
comma? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to select 2, you just need to have comma here,
Okay. And
not inside.
perfect.
Not inside, so here cars, and then you can say I want to
Again,
2 0, sorry,
again, cars.
yes, if you want to see both of them. I want to select SEB and BMW, so you do this way. Yeah. So as I said, we'll cover more about the arrays or variables, but for this exercise I need to tell something about it. So as I said, so it return list of items, right? So it's like similar list, so array. So how can I read the list? So for instance, if I remove this line here and then I go again to the console, so now it's working, right? It was complaining something with the style.color which is not available. So I just removed the line to see it's working. So if I hover over on this one element, so variable, so this is also nice tool that it gives you the preview of the variable. Okay, so if you see here, don't have to read this length or prototype. So length means this is an array. It has one element, that's why it's a length 1. But it starts from this one, 0 index. Okay, so 0 index, that's why it's saying 0. So basically, if I need to, and then you can see what is the the index it has, the element. See, hack your future. So this is the span, and then it has the value of hack your future. So if you go here, sorry, so where is it? It's up or down, probably here. What is it? Inner text, inner HTML called hack your future, right? So before we change the color, probably we can do something. So what this means, for instance, so if I go here and I can say I have the things stored in span, right? So how can I read the first element? Always this one. It's an array and 0 index. And I saw that it's an inner HTML, right? So let's copy this one first. Or inner text. I copy this inner text, copy, and then inner text here, and then I can write something. Probably don't hack. Okay, so refresh. Do you see the changes? I said in the HTML file hack your future, right? And somehow I managed to modify the text hack your future to don't hack your future, right? Somehow. So basically this one, it gives you a list of elements, so you can get the elements by array indexing. So I have only one, so I want to change the first one, so it's 0. And then what you can do, you can do bunch of stuff, inner text, change color, or a lot of things. So now I can also change the color as well. How can I change the color? As usual, so I need to select the first element, right? The same one. So how to select that one? With a 0, and then style the similar way. In the previous example, style didn't work because style cannot implement the styling for all of the element. I need to find the element, select the element. That's why. So now color, and the color code, if you remember, for instance 666. So I just refresh. See, the color has changed. So I managed to modify two things. I managed to modify the text as well and the color, right? Okay. So you have seen this example. Can you try yourself on? Change the text, change the color.
Conceptually variable or variable.
Okay.
Is that okay? Next time I do.
আমি ভ্যারিয়েবল চাই না, ঠিক আছে, বাট করতেছি যে এক্সাম্পল
আমি কি করবো ভাবছি এই সময় ভ্যারিয়েবল কনসেপচুয়ালি বুঝাবো বুঝছেন মানে উইদাউট দ্য কোড এন্ড
It's good.
So এটা করার পরে let's apply this straight from code.
Who is taking over my? Who is this person? Christopher. I chose the source PC, but how come it's changed to?
Spooky.
Were you using the Chromecast?
No, I'm using the direct one.
Okay.
So that's not okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so don't look at the code. I'm hiding it. So 10 minutes, guys. So change the color and change the text. Yeah. You store in the same place.
Yes.
But see the difference. It says javascript.js, and what is the file name? You can see it from there as well in the browser. Script underscore you said, right? So either you remove the file, rename the file, or you just rename, .js again. You say javascript.js. Should be exactly the same. And where you saving TS file? It's a TS TypeScript file. You say. Can you rename the file? So you go to say this script.js. That's much simpler. And are you storing in the desktop? JS. Yes. Your spelling probably is a bit different.
Okay.
I'll be back.
There's a difference between double equal and single equal. Try the single equal. Always use the keyboard shortcut since you have. So to debug this, so you have a problem. So open the web tool, yes, and open the console. So there's a problem, right? Someone can click that file now. So nothing is there. So meaning that you file. How do you save this file? Why is like that? GS file? Because here saying JavaScript.js, and this file is not the same file. So create a file with the only JS file, not GS file. Rename it. It's not actually finding the file. JS, yeah. So basically, small catch. This is probably should be tag. Okay, like tag, not ID. Don't you? Why you are saying by ID? Don't give ID. Then we are losing the purpose. Do not write anything in HTML. Just do everything from JavaScript file. Don't assign any class or ID. Yes, do this one. Do the first one. So, so for instance, you have this span, right? So you can say span dot in HTML. But this number 6 line should be similar. Yeah. Here, yes. And then it's 3 and 2 give the zero. If you have one more than one span, then it will say 0, 1. But not only 1, that's what it should say. And the semicolon. The color is C is
Or the worst case is just
so you just assign it to variable.
That's what sometimes I do.
So in that case, if you
Or
are
find
direct,
the
you can
JavaScript.
as I said, it's still an array. So if you want to access it, you should use the array. The bracket, the square bracket, and 0. Here. Sorry, not here. You can do it here as well. Or you can even better, you just write on different line. So it's and here. And then you can say span. Then the square bracket. Say 0. But maybe not. There's some problem here, I don't know.
So you know loops. You're playing. That's good.
Yeah, check.
Volevo cognitive breakdown, okay?
বলতেছি Okay guys, let's focus again. I think you give a good try. That's fine. That's okay. So while I was looking at your, the computer, I saw some minor issues. For instance, some of you save a JavaScript file with .ts. So TS means TypeScript. So we are not writing any TypeScript at the moment. we are just writing a JS file. So I mentioned the file is script.js. Some of you write script underscore js.ts, so it's not the file. So you always make sure that you write a file.js, and the exact file mapping should exist in here, in the index file, index.html. So you should map that one. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is that how many of you know about this one? What is it? It's equal, but not in JavaScript. It's not equal. It's something called one statement, one side, left side, and right side, for instance. But in equal, this is the equal sign. So double equal is equal sign. So if you define, this is the assignment sign. Assignment. So if you define, say here, double equal, it means that you are checking the left side and the right side.
Exactly.
It will not work. So you always need a single equal. Okay, that's one thing. And secondly, don't define anything, any class here or any ID. So you can just use the tag. I know it can be done, but our idea is to use the this one, get element by tag name. So you get an array and how to read the array. So you get an array, and we are accessing by this one, 0 index, right? Alternatively, you can do this way within one line. For instance, you remove. Okay, one more thing. Do you know how to write comments? We have seen in the HTML and CSS file, right? So this is the instruction that computer understands. And there are some instructions we also need to understand, like only human, like the computer shouldn't bother about it. So that called comments. So how can I comment this, the whole section here? Any idea? So yeah, everyone is probably right. So this one, this way, and then I need to close that one, right? So this is the comment. So computer will not bother about it. It just skip this one. So I told you I can write the this one in one liner. So how can I do it? So document dot get element by tag names, right? Tag name, and what is the tag name?
This by name.
Span, and you can choose to use a double quote or single quote. It's okay. It's not. So there's significance of the using double or single quote, but for now you just ignore it, and you can use whatever you like. Okay, and then so if I do like this, so it means it's return a list of items, right? And list of items means array. And how can we access the array? With the index, right? So basically you just immediately can write this way, bracket, and then if you want to read the first one, and this is the one. So basically means that if I have one more span here and something, so here I have a span, here I have a span, right? And I save this one and this file as well. So if I want to change the color, now I have commented the file, so it shouldn't be, it reset the color as well, right? So if I want to change only this one, the color, so I can go here and style similar way dot color equal color name, right? Let's say 333, this one. It's not changing
Because it's not by tag name, by name you put by mistake.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry, tag, it should be tag, right? Now it changes the color. So if I want to change the this one, something here, how can I change? If I want to change the font size, it's so small, I can't read actually. Okay, you don't see the output here. So if you don't see, please let me know so I can drag the window. So if I want to change the font size of the second one, how can I do it?
Dot style, dot font.
So basically I need to find the element first, right? And how can I find the element first? It's always, I said, returns a list of items, and this element also in a span, right? So I have one span and two span. So if I want to read this one, I read with the 0. If I want to read this one, I should read with 1. Basic, yeah, that's perfect. So similar way, I just need to copy, copy, and then what I need to change the here, right, 1. And what I should do, dot font, I guess, I don't know, dot style, style dot font size, right, equal, let's say 24 pixel. Okay, refresh, see it changes, right? Or I can say, to make it more visible, for instance, 54, it changes the size, right? Any question here? Any confusion about the 2 lines here? Sorry? I'll check, but if do you have any question here, the syntax here, so we just tag, and what it means, 0 and 1?
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
And also the style?
Yeah, style.
Style is also something that it's changed the color, the styling part, okay? So one small thing before we do something else. So in the comment here, what I did here, I assigned a variable, I called the variable and stored there, right? And did you understand the purpose why I assigned there anything? So variable is like it stores information and you can reuse. You can you don't have to redefine it. It remembers the thing and then you can reuse later, right? So for instance, this line, this 2 line, right? And I'm changing the first span element and the second element. So what's the repeated information here? Can you see? The first up to here, it's a repeated. It's a similar, right? Line number 11 and line number 12 has this exact same thing. It's too much redundant. While you're writing a code, it's always, whenever our JavaScript file will grow to thousands lines, you will be able to, even by the end of the module, you'll be able to write more than hundreds of lines. Yeah, that's for sure. So in that case, if you're writing a duplicate things, then it's a lot of possibility to do the error. You can make mistake easily. So to make it error prone, you should use somehow to minimize this one and reuse. Always. So reuse can be done in various ways, with a variable, function, and loop, and many things. But for now, we just stick to variable. So what can I do? I can do the similar thing that I did here, right? Copy this line, copy. So I can remove this part, right?
Yeah.
It's similar thing I already stored somewhere. I remove this one, remove this part, right? So how can I assign the beginning part? Just use this one. So I can call this one dot, this one dot. So basically what spans means, span is a variable. It remembers document.getElement by tag name dot span. It remembers this thing. And after dot you can use these ones.
No, there shouldn't be dot.
Sorry?
There shouldn't be dot. Span dot.
There's no dot.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, there's no dot. Yeah, sorry. In the beginning, the example, there's no dot. So this way, for instance, to see if it's working, we can say 94. Let's refresh. See, it's changing. So meaning it's working. So this way, whenever we write some codes in future, we will try to use the variable to minimize this. But probably it's a complex. You are not getting what is the variable means, what is the array means. So we have a small session now. After this one, we'll go back. So we'll
maybe,
just.
do you want to break now and then do my session? I think they'll want
I
break.
think they'll go for a lunch break in half an hour.
I'm new here, so.
So it will be too much break. So
I
let's take your.
break then. Okay, it's
Have
up to you.
minutes,
You're the boss.
Take this one first, then
Okay.
I'll go for a long break. Okay.
Okay, leave that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to introduce the concept of variable. Okay, from like conceptual, theoretical point of view. Okay. So variables are placeholders to store some information. Okay. So for example, we have all these names. Okay. So one variable is name1. So I call this name1. Okay. Say name1. But it's a placeholder, means we need to store some information. So in my name1 variable, apne ekটু variable name1 kore yete ekhane variable with name1.
Okay, I should write variable.
Yeah.
Okay. Var name1.
Okay. So in my first variable location, I'm going to store your name. Okay. I'm going to take this and put it in here. Okay. Look at the concepts. Okay. Now, can I store your name in here?
Yeah.
Can I? How many people say yes and how many people say no? Yes. Answer is no. Okay. And that's what I want you to understand, okay?
If you use array, why we
I'm not talking about array. I'm just talking about variable. Okay. Variable is used to store one information of type. If it's string, it's string. If it's number, it's number. Okay. So that's why. Sorry?
JavaScript is a dynamic.
Yeah, but you can't store two
But
information.
it will be overwritten if I
Yeah,
Yeah,
store
you can.
Place,
If you put another one, that's fine.
Put
But
the
generally,
place.
you need a storing location where you need to store information. Okay. But with the array, what's happening is here you're having combination of this. You see what? Did you understand that? So with the array, this is the 0 location, as Abed was saying. This is 1 and this is 2. Okay. So you store information. So variable is used to store information. You can't use a variable in JavaScript. You can't use something without declaring it. So you know when Abed was talking about reuse, so I can say name1. I'm going to change it to. Where's my? So name1. Can you put in name1 Mohammed?
Yeah, I did.
You did. Thank you.
But they can see you for.
Oh. Oh, sorry. So I'm name1 Mohammed. So if I want to store something else in there, I need to Zishan. Can I have this? Can I have your name? So that's what's happening. Did you understand? So the understanding variable is really important because you can't store if I don't know in JavaScript can you store more if it's dynamic, so it's probably if you store more it takes it as an array.
No, it's like
No.
Yeah. So you can only store one thing. Okay. So name1. But if I had name2, another variable name2, can you put another variable name2? So this is my name1. But in name2, I'm just going to store your name now, Muhammad. So now, can you see? So you need a name for the variable. And name is what in this concept? What is name1? Is it the... Huh? No. Name1 is the envelope where you store it. Okay, that's the thing you need to understand. The value is Zishan. Sorry, is it Zishan? Muhammad. For this one, the value is Muhammad, but the placeholder is
Name one.
name.
name
two.
Muhammad is name 2. So this is envelope 2, name 2. Sorry, I should write the name here. Okay, I think that's what I wanted to clarify because it's good to understand it from like without coding. Okay, and so with the array is a collection of things. So collection of names. So if we want to store collections of all their names, can you write an array of few names? So just write. Okay, so we can store a class. We could name it our class, Hack Your Future Class06. So that's how information can be stored. But can you put another, say, integer in there? I'm covering a little bit of variable and a little bit of array, okay? Okay. Can it take in JavaScript?
Yeah.
Yes. But usually when you have an array, you store same kind of information. So if it's in a class of people, you would assume that it's names, strings. But if it's like your salaries, so salary list would be all float in JavaScript. Okay. So anyway, that's I just wanted to kind of link up how variable is understood in a layman's perspective. Okay. Vision. I thought just one more thing. Can I just I want you to start thinking about it. Okay. Just one more thing. Okay. Now, name one is Zishan. Can I have Zishan here? And name two is Muhammad. Okay. Now, what I want to do is in name one, I want to put Muhammad. What do I do? Physically, don't forget about the code. Physically. In name one, I want to put Muhammad. What do I do?
Name one equal Muhammad.
I have to take this house and put
Where is Zishan now?
Uh,
Zishan is lost. Computer doesn't know. So now you're saying, I want Zishan. Zishan is gone. He's not available anymore. So what would you do?
Swap.
How?
As in another variable.
I'm going to save Zishan from dying. Okay. So now I'm going to swap. I should have named it. So I'm going to put Muhammad in there, and I'm going to put Zishan in there from the temp variable. Okay. Now I've swapped it. Do you understand that? Okay. So the point is that if you replace a variable, if you want the old data, no, computer doesn't know it. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Just to extend with you,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll write here too because envelope will be disappear, so probably we'll refer here always. So as she mentioned, so one thing is difference in the JavaScript and the other programming languages, Java or PHP,
I'm from Java.
C# or something. That means that whenever you write a variable, you always give a type. So it's an integer, it's a float, it's a string, it's an array or something. You guys familiar with the type of that, right? How many data types we have?
8 float double.
Not count, but what are the types of? Integer? String. Float.
String.
Yeah. All are familiar with this thing? All? Who is not? Anyone? Don't know. Okay, that's good. So in JavaScript, the basic difference is like whenever you call a variable, you can this is an assignment sign, right? So left and right. The first part is called a name of the variable. I mean, it's not a name, it can be anything. So the name of the like span or something. And the second part is the value. So first part is the name and second is the value. And the type. So we learn type, integer, float or something. So what is the type of the name variable of name one or span? String. How do you know that? In JavaScript, we always type a string, integer or something. So in Java. But in JavaScript, it is a smart or probably it's good or bad, I don't know. But it decides smartly by reading the value.
It
So-
decides as it gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why it's called dynamic. Because
So-
as it, oh, this is string,
Yeah.
then this variable is string.
So in that case, this is the one string, right? One string. And that's why its variable is type of string. And this also string is a variable type of string. And what is this?
Array.
It's a collection of string. It's a different way we have designed. So basically, if you say what type of this variable is an array, that's it. So you don't have to define it; just have to analyze it, and the engine, it's execute and understand it.
Yeah, and I think the open bracket and close bracket, so computer actually reads it from left to right. Open bracket, close bracket, and there is an equal to and the variable, that means it's an array. It kind of understands it that way. But it literally reads from left to right and looks for the characters.
Yes. Just not to lose your idea in Word, probably we just write here. So probably what's a variables means variables like the box. So it's a box. One box can contain only one thing. Just imagine that. One
like
contain
this.
can be only how many items? One item. So if I want to store something, it doesn't matter. It's a name, it's a object, it's a number like this, or it's something stored. So if I have to store something here, so I need a box, right? And to get the box. So basically, why we need a box? because we need to store somewhere that I can use always. So to do that, so we always declare with a var. Okay? So it means if you say var, then it stores the memory, it stores the space into the memory. You know the memory. When you run the things, it has memory. I don't know if you're familiar with the RAM, hard drive, RAM, this. So this is the memory, right? So when we execute our program, so it store temporary information in RAM, which is like always erased by when the execution is done. So it stores some box for us if you declare a variable, right? So let's say you declare a variable, which is like, for instance, the name one you said, right? So you can store only one item. Remember that, right? So and then if you want to store a name, one more name, I declare another variable, right? And then the name 2. And if I want to have one more, name 3, right? So let's say we just tried the name one is Muhammad. Muhammad. And the name 2? And name 3? Who is the name 3?
Harita.
Huh? Oh, come on. Easy name. Quickly.
Anas.
Anas, yes. Name 3. Name 1. Name 2. So we are defining a lot of box. But you name Anas probably is not Muhammad, it's not unique. It's not unique, right? The different class, you are class 6, right? And there are class 4, class 5, class 3. Probably there are some Muhammad as well, right? So how do you differentiate between these two persons? Any idea?
By variable.
Variable, definitely, yes. So probably we can define the concept like from the real world. So this Muhammad is from class 4. I'm a Muhammad from class 6, right? So somehow we can tag with a class name. So yeah, definitely I can say it's like a Muhammad name 1 or something with a different name, right? Class 06 and then name 1, right? So in that case, if Jishan is also duplicate or Anas is duplicate, I have to do the same thing, right? All the time class like here. Class 06 like this. I have to do that. But it's not a way you can always do that. What if I can just bundle them, box them together in one box, then this box only can contain one item. But if I have a box that can contain more names, then it'd be nice, right? I don't have to think about it. And that's called array. So basically, if I have a place like that, a bigger box, right, where you can define this sort of thing. So I can say Muhammad and then this one, Anas, probably many more, right? I can define. So now I don't have to call name 1, name 2, name 3. What I should call? Probably
Class 06.
class 06, right? That's it. So earlier, whenever we want to show this information in the console or somewhere, or we want to use it, we always write what? Console.log, right? If you want to say Anas, how can I show the Anas, the word? Name 3. Don't forget this one. Okay? So, name 3, right? So now it's not a name 3, it's a unique name called class 06. So I need to show Anas again somehow. So somebody is saying, give me student Anas, right? So how can I get the answer out of this one? I want to read that. So as I said you in the beginning, always remember that it's an array. If it's an array, then this is called 0 default. It's universal truth, you can say, like a sunrise in the which side? East, west? I don't know. Probably you can remember it. So and it's 1, it's 2, it's 3, and so forth, like 5, 6, whatever, right? And it has a length, yeah, definitely some thousands. It can be one array. So if I want to read Anas, what should I do? So I can call the variable. What is the variable name? Class 06. And then the way of reading from array, there's a different way of data types. Reading the object is like this one. It's a similar of the drawing.
Same as this.
Yeah. Exactly. So if I want to read him, what should I write?
2.
And it's called index. So I should write 2, right? Then I can get him. I can show him. I can change his name, title, color, font, whatever I can do. I'm just locating. So in the CSS file, you just write, the ID or class. But back in the background, it is writing a lot of instruction to locate, to go that place. And we are going to this name by writing this, way. It's locating, right? And one important thing when you are doing the exercise, I saw some of you, skipping this small thing. What it calls?
Semicolon.
Semicolon. And why is needed?
Execution.
End of statement.
What it does actually, the semicolon?
It's end of
Execute.
Sorry?
End of the statement.
End of statement, yes. Yeah. So the way we are writing, it's like a JavaScript, pure JavaScript. Probably the version called ES6 or ES5. I mean, you don't have to remember the name, but forget about this one. So basically, in this format, if you want to execute something, give an instruction. Always give one instruction at a time, not multiple. So to separate the instruction, we always separate the semicolon, and it is very important. But in the modern way of JavaScript, it's optional. In the file, somebody has a TS file, right? Which is called TypeScript file. They made it optional, and the way they made it optional, there's a compiler, there's something that can decide. Okay, one line means one instruction. That's it. And if you want to do the second instruction, go to second line. You don't have to do this. But for this, our JavaScript is always a mandatory. Always remember that. Otherwise, there will be error.
Optional for like vanilla JavaScript is optional for comma.
Yeah, there are many interpolations. So we are not going there. There are many ways you can separate them. But for our case, it's always a semicolon. Remember that. So this is an instruction, and this is where we store information, right? And exactly this is the one. And I did it before the interaction because it was needed for this example. So now, is it clear to all of us the code we wrote here? The way? If it's not, probably we can go again. Any question you have?
Yeah, in this example, your name, Zishan Muhammad 13.
Yeah.
Is it correct to write 13 without giving its var?
Very good question. So, what is this means?
Double quotation.
Double quotation. What is this means?
Single quotation.
And what it does?
There is no difference. The same.
There's difference, yeah, huge difference. But initially, what it does?
For
So whenever we have a data type called string, whenever you want to declare some string, you always use this, right? And I say the JavaScript, it is smart. It decide what the data type is. So here it decides a variable, a string. It's an array because it has the bracket. It has a symbol similar, right? So and what about the integer? How does this decide it's an integer or it's a number?
Because there's no
Without quote. You just write some variable, right? Var number equal 100 without quote. That's it. Oh, sorry. And one more smart thing in JavaScript is, see here, you asked a very good question, actually, I like this. So why we are not giving this quotation mark here? Even if you give the quotation mark to the, it will not say it's 13, it will say it's 13, if you give a quotation mark. So if you want to represent, this is a number, so you can either choose to give it or give like that. But if you give it with a quotation mark, right, then you cannot say it's 13. You cannot say 13 plus 1 equal to 14. It will not give you.
It's a name.
It's a string like 13, like this way. And one advantage of the JavaScript, so it's an array, and you can define a multiple mixed type of data. You can say I'm storing a string, I'm storing number, I'm storing something else. But in Java, in other programming languages, it is pretty strict. If you decide to array is a string, it should be string, everything. It should be integer, it should be float or something that you can define it. But it's a loosely typed, programming language. So here you have a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility. It means a lot of maintenance, a lot of error can happen. If you have a strict data type, so it is less possible to do mistakes. But here you can you probably are thinking it's a number. If you give a code, then you can do the this operation like plus minus or something.
With very safety critical application, they will use strongly typed language.
Yeah.
Right.
But in also JavaScript, there's a strongly typed language. Like from Node.js, you'll be learning that. And there, this is not it's optional. TS TypeScript. So Node.js and TypeScript, you will be writing strong type. So they have this Java-like, environment. Any more questions here? Please do ask question. Then probably I forget something. Just question triggers me to cover this thing, because I was not aimed to tell about the semicolon and the quotation mark, but I saw you were doing the mistakes. Then I said, okay, let's focus this one. Okay, so then we take a half an hour break from now. We'll meet at 2:25. Okay. Yes.